And welcome from Perth, Western Australia. Tantalising matchup here this morning in the women's division of the World Under 24 Ultimate Championships. We've got Australia taking on Canada, two top teams in this division. Let's cross to our game commentators, Katie Locke and Rob Swan.
Thanks, Joy. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. These are two powerhouse teams in this division. Both of them have done absolutely extremely well throughout this tournament. Canada coming off an amazing Universe Pinpoint win against Japan yesterday, still undefeated. Australia, 2 losses to Colombia and the USA, but looking strong coming into this matchup.
Japan also losing on Universe to Australia. The Aussies are looking stronger than ever, and it's really exciting to see how they play up against the undefeated Canada.
Absolutely. The Australians coming out on defense here, pulling, going downwind. The wind is a little bit lighter this morning, but it is absolutely going to be increasing across the day, potentially across the match. Going left to right across your screen. Canadians looking to go upwind for their first offense. Sprague with the pull.
Canada looking to come out in a horizontal stack. First dish off to Beaudry, and she fakes it. She almost sold me a house. Dumping it back to Janest. Swinging it to the near sideline. She's looking to centre it. She gets a downfield cut. Trying with the disc now. Assessing her options. She really wants that dump off to Beaudry, and she gets it. Oh, and there's the hug she wanted earlier. One-on-one matchup.
Reeve with the D there, managing to hold that space well.
And Norden couldn't reel that one down. Australia on offense now.
Smith with the disc here. Finds Sprague. She's got Lee off the back. Chooses not to take it. Goes around. Finds Smith. Experienced player. Finds Lim. Looks off the upline. Goes around the back to Reeve. Reeve finds Sprague under pressure from Beaudry. Looks long. Perkins on the end of this one. Well read.
Great D there from Norden. Obviously getting a bit of revenge for that one-on-one matchup she couldn't reel in earlier. Canada getting another crack at offense. Walking the disc up is Captain Thompson. Should be wanting to get it off the sideline. Centres it. Immediate swing pass. Move it really nicely to the far sideline there to Norden. Oh, and there's a miscommunication.
Lim picking up the disc. Australians just outside the front of the end zone here, looking for patience and calm. Lee with the disc. Dunks backwards to Perkins. Taking her time, patience here. Finds Sprague. Oh, and that's just incomplete there.
Now we've got a couple of turnovers for this opening point, potentially some nerves coming in. Both these teams really wanting to get this win on the board, get their chance in semis.
This is the first showcase game for the Australians.
Got Beaudry with the disc. Centres it. Great D there.
Reeve finds Lim. Great catch D. Goes around to Sprague. Back to Reeve. Patience here out the front. Just pointing and calling her shots as there's a pick called. Plays resetting in the stack and they'll be going again. Australia looking for this downwind break on the first point here. They're needing to display patience and discipline out the front to put this in. Reeve with the disc. Finds Sprague out the front as there's another pick. Players will discuss whether it affected. It looked like the pick was in the stack and not on Sprague's defending player, so she'll remain with the disc. And Smith goes back to the stack. Sprague earlier selected on the Australian World Game squad, one of the most experienced players on this team. As she looks at the bigger round, Perkins is there, and that's a university matchup, and they've scored the first downwind break. Stingrays take the lead 1-0.
And that just shows the excellence of Sprague there with that great around break through to Perkins. The Aussies will be very satisfied with themselves getting that opening break. Canada not letting it get them down though. They're a very spirited team, often having lots of chance, and along with the other Canadian teams have this big TC vibe. They represented their country, they're one big squad. Wouldn't be surprised if some of the other Canadian players are watching on from the sideline if they don't have current games. I know there's a lot of family here watching on, and those from home as well.
Absolutely. Shout out to everyone watching at home. It's prime time in Canada right now, and it is prime time here at the Fields in Perth. What a matchup this is. Going to be a cracker. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else calling any other game right now. The Australians back on defense again. This is where they want to be. This is where they're going to manufacture breaks. Head coach Michelle Phillips putting out her upwind line here. Speaking of Michelle Phillips before the game, she was very proud of her squad. It's quite a large squad and gives them the ability to have answers and tools for every potential situation. They've been running some interesting offense and defense lines, upwind and downwind lines, and giving them the adaptability to do whatever's needed the situation. Carolyn Ma with a pull, Canada going on offense.
Centering the disc. Canada looking to move the disc early. Oh, and that's a great grab there from Karen Hatch, co-captain. Oh, they've got an early long throw. Just too far. The wind pushing it too far for the receiver.
Absolutely, that one's sitting nicely. She had an open player, but those leading downwind passes are often a trap. It's easy to shoot a leading pass, but it's tough down in the wind. Canada going into a poachy look immediately off the stop disc here. Prentice, the second World Games player on this team with the disc, looking for options. Scuba over the top, finds Ruiz. Goes wide to Valancourt. Up the line to Wang. Patience here. Resets to Chung. Chung up to Zalams. Zalams finds Prentice in the middle, but it's just off the hands there, giving Canada an opportunity.
Australia coming out on a match defense. In the pickup, look early for the long shot, but there's miscommunication. There's no receiver there for that.
Absolutely. No authority to leave there. Got to have someone to pick up the parcel at the end zone. Carolyn Ma, no risk, no worries. Playing through a fracture today. He's picked up the disc, walking it confidently to the front of the end zone line. As Canada resets to a one-on-one match defense with a few poachers in the lane. Ma to Prentice. Looked like a close hand block there, but definitely was still in Prentice's hand, and there'll be an uncontested foul coming back. Prentice, one of the captains of this squad, one of the most experienced players. We'll be looking to her a lot, especially on these upwinders.
And we get a replay of that block now.
And there's a quick turnover from the Australian squad, unable to gain a lot of yardage going upwind, giving Canada the short field to work.
And we have Spirit Captain Tam to pick up the disc. Canada stacked really deep, giving themselves lots of space to get that goal in, go for the swing. Just outside the end zone now. Oh, we put that one in the bank. Canada with their first score on the goal.
Absolutely. Quite a low grab, nearly her ankles, but able to reel that one in. Lots of pressure from Eunice Chung, number 71. Not quite able to get the block there. That's all right. We've got Joy Lee down on the sideline here. What have you got for us?
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, I was having a chat with Michelle Phillips, coach of this Australian team earlier, and I said, what's your approach for this game? And she said that they're focusing on their own stuff here, their own mood especially. The perfect mood being excitement, raging excitement, but also determination. And I think energy levels have been good here. Both teams just feeling each other out, putting a few long shots and getting into this game.
Thanks for that, Joy. Appreciate the insight.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how these Australian players display their adaptability. It's the Canadians coming out with quite an interesting poach look off that stops disc. It's something we saw a lot yesterday afternoon against Japan and was quite effective there. And the Australians initially struggling a little bit there, but they're expert problem solvers. They've been working on their adaptability, their ability to do their own thing and move the disc and work against any defense that other teams can bring. So we'll see if they can work out that puzzle as they look to go downwind.
Thompson with the pull.
Mueller to Smith in the middle there. Goes wide to Ewan. Back to Smith. Back to Ewan. Moving it easily against this Canadian zone that they've found. Smith goes wide. Sees Mueller. She's got players deep. 3 Australians under that. Oh, and that's off the hands of you. A lot of defensive pressure there. Canada looking to go upwind here.
We had Norden up in that D, making sure Australia couldn't convert on the downwind. Baudry picking up the disc. Oh, and there's been a pick called. Indicated by the sun's out, guns out.
Absolutely. Stellar athletes, they've been working and training for a long time. Every opportunity to show off their guns, but this time they're just signalling a pick.
Baudry assessing her options. Enthusiastic, Dumnall on the mark. And there's been another pick called. Players have a chat, trying to figure out where they need to be. Back in play now. Baudry sends it long. She's got Trong on the... She's got Monchilla on the end. Great grab from Monchilla. And she sends it too. Oh. And there's a break. Sarah Norden on the end of that. And Canada are enthusiastic. They are so excited about that.
Canada with a quick answer to the Australian break. That's 2-1 Canada. They've gone upwind just as easily as the Australians have. Australians unable to convert. A good offensive possession there, but looking deep, looking big early. Unable to convert. Canada's gone back the other way here. A nice long shot. Reeled in nicely.
And let's just talk about the hands on number 5, Morchilla there. That was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Here's the replay again. I thought that was going right over her head, but she reeled that one one-handedly. Great read.
Absolutely. It's great play from both of these teams. There's efficient, brutal offense from the Canadians to go upwind confidently and quickly, not giving the Australians a chance to collect themselves and play defense there. Australians looking to respond here. Got a strong line going on. Going to be going upwind here. Australia not playing strict O&D lines, able to shuffle players around. They're all very experienced and they've got a lot of good connections, giving them the right tool for any situation. Let's see if this line can go upwind for an offensive hold and level the score here.
Sue with the pull.
And that one's drifting out. Smith with the disc here, indicating with a single raised arm that she'll be taking it from the brick mark. Australia opening a side stack. O'Neill isolated in the lane. Smith with an early shot. She's got Dunmore on the end there. Looks long. Perkins in the end zone, and that is about as efficient as you can get. That's a 2-pass upwinder from the Australians, showing they can mix it with their best here. That's 2-2, scores are leveled.
That just shows the great throwing skills the Australian players have, the excellent inside break, getting that up the line and putting it in the bank.
Absolutely, a great mix of talent and experience there. Smith having played with the Barramundis, the Australian mixed team, at the World Championships in London 2016. Dunmore, one of the rookies on this team, but absolutely an incredible athlete and a rising star, shooting to Perkins, a returning Stingray from 2 years ago.
Dunmore has already gotten herself a huge reputation of getting the great vertical leap, and in matchups, she often comes out with the disc. No surprises there.
Absolutely, one of the fastest athletes, if not the second fastest on this Stingrays team. Be interesting to see how often they look for her deep and under, and clearly showcasing great patience and throwing ability there as she comes back out for the pull. Dunmore with a pull. Australia looking for some defense here.
Canada coming out. They'll want a quick convert on this to answer to Australia. See themselves. It looks like a horizontal stack. It's a bit scattered. Australia brought out a zone. Working it through their handlers there. Onto that far sideline, lots of give and go. Got that combination of Baudry and Janest working the disc between each other. Back to Baudry. Gets it out to Trong. Nice patient decisions from her. She fakes up the line.
Kim Sprague with a 5'11" frame on the mark here. Oh, and that's a lot of pressure. The disc has gone up the line and just out of the hands of Beaudry.
Can't contain
Spragg
that
quickly on
one.
the mark here. She's got O'Neill deep. Elects to swing it to Chung, 71. Chung, no mark. All the patience in the world. Finds you on an open under. Looks back to Chung. That's a bit of a miscommunication there. Setting up on defense here.
Canada getting another chance to convert. Beaudry picking up. Probably want to make up for an earlier mistake. Canada setting up in a vertical despite Australia's zone defense.
Dummel at the back, covering 3 players, easy as.
Yes, she wants to shut down that deep. Make sure they can't just put one over the top. Use their height to their advantage. Canada struggling to get off that sideline. Finding some gaps now. Oh, and they find it! In the safe hands of Janesse.
And that's a Canadian offensive hold-up win. They've done quite well working into this win, managing to split the Australian defense a few times. Australia with an opportunity, but cheaply given away. Difficult conditions today. It's going to be interesting to see which of the teams can bring out the consistency and hold those shots. Breaks will be as rare as hen's teeth in this game, so it's going to be crucial to keep possession of the disc, particularly going downwind. Always too tempting to take a lot of big shots, and even what normally would be a safe swing can be risky.
Now, one thing that we're going to have to see is holding that position, like you said. Interestingly enough, from that point, we saw a couple of unforced errors, a couple of cold drops and miscommunications, and that's going to be the sort of thing that both teams are going to need to prevent from happening to ensure they hold on to the position. Can't quite control when defense gets strong, but you can control getting a safe catch.
Absolutely. And the Australians will be looking for consistency going on this upwinder here. It's a nice upwind line. A lot of strong handlers here.
Hatch with the pull.
Fielded by Ma. Upfield, Mihash. Back to Ma up the line here. On the run. Faking, moving through the zone. Reeve in the center. Finds Ma on the sideline. Looks in the middle. And it's just a bit high, tipped off Prentice. And it looks like there's a foul called.
Quite a few players in that scramble.
Yeah, players will have a chat and they'll see whether or not the foul affected Reeve's ability to go out for the disc. And they'll have a chat about it and see what's happened here.
Got our game advisor there, listening, having the ability to facilitate if necessary, but all of their opinions are non-binding. Even at the highest level, ultimate being a self-refereed sport.
Absolutely, it's one of the best aspects of the game. Game advisor there to provide an additional perspective and clarification on all the rules if required, but the final decision is absolutely up to the players themselves.
Quick score update, if you can hear some rowdiness in the background, it's from the field behind us. The Malaysian mixed team just scored on Canada, so they are ecstatic.
Absolutely, cracking games going on all around here. Looks like that's a contested foul, and the disc will go back to Carolyn Ma. Australians going to need patience here. Canadian defense is in a zone set, and there's players everywhere, and they'll be looking to scramble as soon as this disc is in, and that's what they do. Ma around to Mihash. Mihash playing safe here. Goes wide, finds Reeve. And there's a pick called in the stack here. Players will reset. Reeve with a disc.
Now, one of the interesting things we saw in the game yesterday between Canada and Japan is miscommunication about the difference in pick rules between the WFDF rules and the USA Ultimate rules.
Absolutely. Indeed, we're playing under a woof of rules here, and hopefully those confusions will be ironed out after our beautiful explanation from Rubenberg. As Prentice gets it around from Reeve, goes to Ma, and there's another pick here. It's a bit of a chaotic defense going on. Potentially Australians a bit scattered around the field right now, and the Canadians appear to have transitioned from a post look into a one-on-one match defense. So players running all around the field. Not surprised that picks are occurring, but might be what the defense is looking for. Trying to get a cheeky block here in the chaos. Prentice with the disc. Taking her time. Looks through the inside, and it's hand block there. Canada going downwind.
Hand block from Lewis. Got Chandler with the disc. Working up the sideline. Really active mark from Prentice there. Great grab from Tam. Centers it. Oh, just falls out of the hand of Chandler.
Mihach with a quick pickup. No options at the moment. Dumps to Reeve. Reeve looking upfield, finds Ma. Ma goes wide. Mihach. Mihach with a big up line. And it's just past Prentice there. A lot of turnovers on this point here. A lot of nervous energy. We're early in the game and players looking to make things happen. Looks like there's an injury call.
Looks like Chandler is coming off. Maybe bumped something when she came down with that disc earlier. Shout out to everybody on the live stream. We've just been notified that there is over 500 of you watching. That's fantastic. Bonjour to everyone in Canada. And we have Canada pick up the disc again, just in front of the end zone. Lewis sends it. Oh, just over the hands of Hatch.
Ma and Reeve in the area, able to put enough pressure on. Difficult catch at the best of times, but defense making it nearly impossible there. Reeve with the disc. Goes around. Find Ma. Ma with the disc, showing patience here. Finds Prentice on the under. It's got Reeve going up line. Looks it off. A lot of chaos here. Oh, and that's a tip disc. Qua can't hold on to that.
Great tip from Tam there. Tip Tam. Tip Tam shape. Get the early fake. Centers it to Lewis. Very scattered end zone look here. Hatch just in front of the end zone. Centers off to Lewis again.
Prentice with a run through block. She's read that perfectly. Finds Qua. Qua with some patience here. Finds Prentice. Australians looking for calm. Resets to Reeve. Reeve around to Prentice here. Australians quite a deep stack here. Not a lot of under options here. Prentice finds Mihach under pressure. Mihach goes around, sees Reeve. Reeve looking strong with the disc. Shoots long. Great grab by Ma. Gone inside. Find Prentice. She's got players deep. Elects not to throw it. She's calling her shots, pushing, telling Australian players to move upfield. Goes back to Reeve. Reeve looking inside. Finds Ma with a left-handed grab. Uncharacteristic there. Goes wide. Sees Prentice. They're moving up the sideline and there's a big shot. She's got Ruiz under there. Defenders in the area. Well, Ruiz looking for the grab there. Unable to reel that one in. A lot of hands there.
One-on-one contest there with Gavals. Two of the shorter girls in the line. And Canada looks to be calling a timeout.
Not a bad option here. The Australians have gone upwind quite some distance. The Canadians have managed to get yet another block on this one. Australians needing to convert these blocks into goals. Got Joy Lee down on the sideline here.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Down on the sideline, we heard Australian players say 2 minutes to their teammates on the field. And asked about that. That refers to 2 minutes of continuous offensive possession. That's a goal that these Stingrays are going for, and if they can maintain that, chances of success are much higher. So I think some of these choices, it's a long point wearing on. Let's see if they can take a deep breath, and let's see them make that 2 minutes.
Absolutely, Joy. Offensive possession is crucial going up in here. The Australians are playing great defense. They're getting blocks. They're in these contests. The Rays need to be consistent, patient with their offense here. They're able to grind these undercuts, but I would say only 1 in every 3 is getting open. This is ferocious Canadian defense, but Australians are absolutely able to make this one happen. They just need to get a block and put it in calmly here.
Now, just quick shout out to our friends over at Emma and Tom's who have been fueling our 150 strong volunteer workforce. Their motto is look after yourself, and I think they've been looking after us very well.
Absolutely. Beautiful drinks, no sugar in them. As the Canadians go downwind again.
On the sideline there. Chance hitting it long. Oh, great pick up there by Hatch. Right from the end zone. Right on the door. Oh, can't reel that in. Miash putting great defensive pressure on.
It was a nice high break. She's looking around for a player, but just pushed down a little bit in this wind. It looks like there's an injury call again. Might have gone down hard on that bid there.
This time looks like Lewis is coming off.
Speaking of the Canadian coaches previously, they've had a bit of struggle with injuries. Some of their players having a very tough time here, but Tingle coming on. She was workhorse in the Japanese game yesterday afternoon. Looks like she can replicate those efforts today. Mihash bringing up the disc. Finds Prentice on the front of the end zone line. Australians not able to generate under at the moment here. Finds Reeve. Reeve finds Ma up line. She's got Ruiz deep. She finds that shot again.
Oh!
There's a lot of pressure there.
And there's
Bit
a
of a
foul
bump.
called.
There's a foul call. They'll discuss there. Ruiz going up strong for that disc. Let's have a look at the slow-mo here. Does look like the Canadian players coming in here. To the camera, looks like there was a bit of contact.
That's just what I think. What I think is like we both have a chance on the disc. We both jump up together. So I think he comes up where my body was. I think I was in his face first. And your momentum might have pushed me over, but you definitely came into my face. And okay, it's contested.
Okay, contested.
And that's a contested foul. This disc will remain in Australian possession. Go back to Ma. The players having a chat about it, differing perspectives there. And coming to the result that couldn't quite agree on that one. So best to go back. Ma with the disc. The Australians still in possession here, but needing to reposition themselves if they're going to go a long way up here. Qua with the disc. Finds Valancourt on the around. Valancourt up the guts. Finds Prentice. She's got Mihash around. Looks on the inside. Ma with a great grab. Ma holstering here. Prentice. Just out the front looking long. That's a great flick. Oh, and Valancourt with a bidding goal on the other side there. That's an incredibly athletic play.
Looks as though there's been potentially a call. Nope.
And a goal's being signaled by the Canadian team. That's incredible by the Australians. They've managed to go upwind after a few turns and level the scores at 3-3.
Great layout bid there from Valancourt. And can we just talk about Carolyn Ma's hands in that point? So many fantastic grabs.
Absolutely. You wouldn't even know she's got a fracture, but she's grabbing them up. She's going with her right hand and making those shots when it counts. I think it was a brilliant shot to Ruiz. A bit of a contest, but she's done amazing work to be snatching those high ones in the middle. Safe hands, great effort. And of course, backed up. Stunning goal from Valancourt, making it happen when a team needed it. Stingrays in good position here. Coming out on defense with the Canadians needing to go upwind if they want to be extending their lead here. This is where the Australians need to be on defense here. Coming out with their most agile, quick defenders on those small Canadian handlers and putting out some of their big defenders, like Parsons. Some of the height on this line, definitely going to be matching up on the Canadian height and the Canadian receivers. We're going to get some blocks here, applied a lot of pressure. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not the Australians come down in a zone again. Definitely the coaching staff have a number of different looks up their sleeve. Let's see which one they've got.
Yeah, we found Canada yesterday adapting quite well to all the different styles of defence that the Japanese women put on them. Japanese known for the notorious zones, often quite cluttered as well, which some of the North American teams can struggle to get through.
Absolutely. As that's a ripper pull, lands right in the centre of the end zone.
First for after Baudry. Right in front of the end zone. Canada making some patient decisions here. Centres it back to Baudry. Canada playing a horizontal stack, but it appears there has been a call between Denest and Perkins. Having a quick chat. No hand signal has been indicated yet, so unsure what the call is regarding.
Judging by the gesticulations, it'll be a foul on the mark. And they're having a chat. And Perkins will say, I was already in position and holding my ground. See what the GAs have to say.
Okay, fine. Yep, it's like your arm was there. It's the same thing.
Okay, no worries. Contact call. Uncontested.
uncontested contact. Disc remain with Canada. Count coming in at 0.
And disc is back in. Just sent it into Baudry. Finds our outfield player. Norton. Norton sent her into Baudry again. Great outdoing guard from Moshilla. She tries to get off that sideline. Really struggles with the defense of Sullivan, but there's been a collision. Should you catch that, Rob?
Not particularly collision itself. It looks like it's occurring in the stack. Didn't affect the play. I think the disc will remain with Baudry.
You okay?
Just a bit of a bump. These ladies are incredible athletes. Been training a very long time for this. Not going to let a little tumble stop them. As we're back in the action.
Just is back on the sideline with Baudry. Gets it to Trong. Fakes up the line. Sends it out the line anyway. Into the hands of Norton. Flick up the line from Norton. Baudry gets a layout grab for a goal.
That's an incredible play. Baudry, more thrower than catcher, but here she gets it done. Gets an extension layout, and the Canadians managing to work it all the way up that sideline. Not a lot of spacious play, but cramming it in the hole when it needed to be done.
And that was a very similar look to what Baudry got yesterday in the final goal in the game against Japan as well. Like Rob said, generally more a thrower than a catcher, but oh boy, she caught that one.
Absolutely. Canada taking a 1-point lead here. 4-3 over the Australians. Lots of offensive holds here. Both teams struggling to generate blocks and then put them in afterwards, but Australians with another opportunity to go upwind here. Putting on exactly the right line that needs to be there. A good mix of strong throwers, big receivers. They'll be looking to work through these small spaces in the middle here and then find the big deep shots when they need them. They've absolutely got the throwers to make it happen, even in these conditions.
And the receivers too. That always helps.
Absolutely. You can throw as far as you like. Someone's got to catch it.
Game advisors blowing the whistles, indicating that the game needs to really get rolling again.
Not late until you hear the third whistle, but the pool comes up here.
Great pull from Lewis.
Smith fielding the disc. Up to Mueller. Mueller, the youngest player at 17. Goes wide. Finds Ewan. Ewan, patient with the disc. Finds Smith. Looks back for Ewan up the line, but it's picked off.
Great run through D from Galvez there. Centers it to Chandlam. Really wanting that dump. Lots of pressure from Australia's defense. There's a hand block on Lewis's throw.
That's amazing. O'Neill with a big foot block. She's a powerful mark, and she's got it done here. Mueller picking up the disc. Looks for Sprague. Sprague with a big shot looking long. She's got Smith underneath. Amazing grab, managing to hold her position under pressure there. And a good dink to O'Neill. She's held that one tight against her chest. I'll have a quick discussion about whether or not there was control of the disc. Looks like she'd had that all wrapped up.
I was like this with both my hands. She's like, I was like, both my hands were still on the disc the whole time. It was just under my stomach.
Okay, do you mind if I go to this to see if you saw
Did you
anything?
see anything?
Yeah, I saw total control.
Okay.
Okay.
And they've just checked on the third perspective of the game advisor. And total control established. And that's a great goal from O'Neill, making it happen in the end zone. Backing up an amazing grab from Smith under pressure there. Yep. And replay confirms what we've all thought.
Total control.
Good fourth perspective. And there we go, 4-4, we got a tie game again. Both teams managing to make it happen under incredible defensive pressure. There's incredible athleticism on display here, and neither team able to pull out a huge lead here. It's been a 1-point game all the way through so far. As we approach 4-4, now at 32-minute mark.
And this is exactly the really close game that we were expecting to see between these two teams. I was really excited to see this matchup. I know many other people were. And this is going to be a huge game for both teams. Especially for Australia, they'll cause a three-way tie leading into semis if they manage to win this game.
Absolutely. The Canadians going undefeated thus far. They're playing the US this afternoon, and they'll be looking to sort out the 1-2 spot there. The Australians, not afraid of no one backing down. Going to look to take down these Canadians and force a three-way tie, and we'll see how points difference goes. And it's really anybody's game on the table here as these teams are fighting for the top 4 spots to get through to semi-finals.
Exactly. The interesting format with the women's division this year, having a round robin then straight to semis with no quarterfinals, it really makes the pool play every game matter.
Absolutely. It's really punishing for these players. An incredible opportunity for these young athletes to come up against teams from around the world and play every other team. Punishing for the athletes. Ma with the pull, drifting inside.
Pick up just by the sideline from Canada, centres to Baudry. Horizontal stack from Canada, off to Mochila. So the dump to Baudry. Swings around to Jest. Enthusiastic mark from Australia there. She wants that flick. Centres it to Thompson, captain, and she sends it too. Baudry on the end again this time. She's going to use her height. Great grab there.
Amazing. Baudry able to pull out a little bit of separation from Prentice on that deep shot. Able to reel that one in, but by the time that throw came down, there's not a lot in it. Able to use her height. Hold position there. Canada go up 5-4 after a nice upwind hold.
Just a great example of using your position, holding that, and making sure the defender, even of similar height, can't get in.
Absolutely. One of the most key skills for a receiver is to be able to hold your position, be where you want to be to receive the disc. The defensive receiver can't come through and knock you over to get that block. It's a non-contact game, so they'll have to work their way around you, and if you are first in the space there, you've got a right to hold position. Baudry's done that quite well.
And that's definitely something that's useful for players of all heights and can show even the tiniest of players, even from countries like Japan, they can get great bids even from taller players.
Absolutely. One of the great things about Ultimate is no matter your size, stature, there's always something you can do to be gaining position. It's not a game of size, not often a game of strength, but speed and agility, smarts, and having yourself in the right place will get you an absolutely long way. Australia looking to go upwind here.
Pole coming down.
Mueller fielding the disc here. Hesitating on the first throw to Smith. Gets it off after a quick move. Smith looking for you on the inside. Safely taken. Looks off Mueller on the sideways. Takes the time. Looks upwind to Sullivan. Can't make the throw.
Canada with another chance to break here. So there's a miscommunication about who's going to pick up. Chan Lim going to pick up the disc. Relatively stacked movement from Canada. And Chan Lim sends it deep. Got a bit of a match up there.
Unbelievable. Mueller with a great read on that. Coming in from quite far away. She's one of the great throwers on this Australian team, but she's also quite the heightened defender here. Sends a big arcing backhand shot. It's just trailed out the sideline there. You making an athletic bid. Unable to reel that one in.
Canada on the sideline getting another chance to convert. Get on the break. Lewis to pick up. Canada on a vertical stack, wanting the centre. Oh!
Dunmore with an emphatic block up the line. Not in my house. She takes to the air, potentially unnecessarily, and swats that one down to the ground.
Just showing her vertical stature and great height over Canada.
Australia working against this Canadian zone here. A lot of players quite deep. Smith with a disc here. That's where you want it. Oh, finds the hole to Perkins. Mueller with the disc there, and she's bombed a flick, and that one's soaring in the air. Australians with time to get under that. And Dunmore with the grab and the patience and the safe throw to Sullivan for the goal here. Dunmore's making it happen on both sides of the disc here. Smith with an amazing break out of that zone. Australia managing to hold on, going upwind, levelling the scores at 5-5.
Great enthusiastic jump there from Dunmore. She'll be ecstatic with herself. Great take, great D, great goal.
I don't know what more you can do for the team. Get the disc back and then throw the goal. Sullivan absolutely in a paddock there, managing to take a nice one-handed grab for the goal. Australians looking to have potentially a little bit of trouble with the Canadian zone there. Maybe not adapting as fast as they would have liked. The Canadians playing a lot of match defense, but after a stop disc or on the cone, they're using a bit of time they have to get a lot of players around the disc, put a lot of pressure on the thrower. And the Australians taking their time, doing all they have to, using their elite throwers like Smith to find those holes and then work it up the field.
And here's a great replay of that big flick huck from Eula. Dunmore using her height. She was no match up for Lewis. Like I said, Sullivan in a paddock of space. Great hands, great grab.
Absolutely. Australians now with a chance on defense. Dunmore again with a pull. She's coming down here. Australians coming down with a pacey line. Eunice Chung leading the charge.
Canada sitting up in a horizontal stack. Australia setting up a zone. Interesting to see how Canada try work through this. Janesse just moving it slowly between their handlers. Up to Moshilla. Trapped on that far sideline. The one where it's a little bit difficult to get off. Oh, Janesse finds a hole in the wall. Off to Norton. Finds Trong. Back to Thompson.
Australians playing a slightly different zone here. As the shot goes up.
Huge grab. Great grab there from Norton.
That one, an absolute dime ball, just going to the side of the field where Dunmore wasn't. Perhaps turned ahead, lost that dish for half a second, and that was enough for Norton to get away. We've got Joy Lee down on the sideline here.
Yeah, as the wind picks up a little bit down here, the challenge is keeping those hucks flat. So that particular huck for the score there for Canada was an absolute example of just the perfect kind of angle you want on the disc going upwind. We've seen a couple of particularly angled discs that hang in the air for a bit too long and let the defenders camp under it. And can Australia match that kind of touch on the disc?
Absolutely. I think they're putting out some of their strong throwers here. Smith, one of the most experienced here. Really going to be able to get it done for this Australian team, and they're going to look for exactly the kind of throwing prowess you described. They've got the athletic receivers here. They just need to put themselves in a position to succeed and take some of these wild grabs.
Definitely, and I think that throw there from Boji was just a great example of how an upwind puck should look in these conditions. Just sat beautifully for her receiver.
Yeah, Dunmore perhaps turning ahead looking for something and losing that disc for half a second. Which might have been there.
Oh, and we have a dropped pull.
That's Vano under that one, perhaps thinking about the next throw. As Australia scrambles to put on a match defense here, looking to get a block on this end zone line. Canada looking to punish and take a good lead.
Definitely. That's the second drop pull that we've seen on these live streams. Happens rarely, but it also even more rarely happens to the same player. Canada with the one throw to Moshilla. They get the break.
That's an efficient punish by Canada. Australia will be disappointed with that one, not really giving themselves an opportunity there, but they're back and running again. Mental strength of this Stingrays team shining through. They'll be back at it here. Canada streaming ahead. That's 7-5.
The whole Australian team gathering together, support each other as we have the assistant coaches go up to call line.
Sarah Brereton calling this line. One of the famed coaching staff of the Stingrays, Sarah Brereton, Brie Edgar and Michelle Phillips, all very experienced players and coaches in their own right. It's going to be, looks like they're putting out the same line again, backing their players to get it done as the Australians are going downwind here.
Definitely, with those players mentally preparing to go for a run and play a point, it's always a little bit disappointing when you have a drop pull and turnover so quickly. So they need to get their heads back in the game and keep playing this new point, remembering it's a new point.
Absolutely. It's a new point. You do the same sort of thing. It's focus and intensity and the ability to keep up that focus throughout the entire 100 minutes of play here is really an important skill. The Australians will have been preparing mentally as well as physically for this game. As great coaches say, preparation is 95% physical, but performance is 95% mental here. As Vano fields the disc, finds Smith. She could pass and streaming deep. Elects not to take it. Perkins, open on the under. Perkins, back inside to Smith. She's got a long shot and she takes it. She's got Ewan on the other end. And that's an amazing Queensland collection for a goal there. Ewan taking a strong one-handed grab. Smith with an amazing put. And that's the kind of offense the Australians are looking for here as they come back 6-7. Canada in the lead.
No, that just sat beautifully for Ewan. Chandler had no chance to get on that. So we see the replay here. Ewan just had the great body position and read of that.
It's a great move by Perkins, getting that open under, able to turn, dish it back to Smith, who was coming up the inside there. Smith, with about a second to move, take that big around shot before the mark was able to set. Able to put out a nice breakside shot for Ewan, give her all the space and time in the world that she needed. Make Einstein proud. Australia on defense now, needing a break to get back on level footing here.
Canada were really wanting to be take half there. Really wanting to be taking half here.
Absolutely.
Excuse my English.
Strong position for Canada here, but the Australians putting out a strong line here, giving themselves the right tools they need. Sprague, Prentice, Valancourt, Ma, Mihash, Reeve and Chung, all looking ready to go, all looking fired up. Players calling for talk from the sideline. It's absolutely an invaluable asset here as the pull comes up. It's a beauty.
Canada to pick up. Captain Thompson centres the Baudry. Finds Morchilla on the wing. She's been a staple cut of Morchilla for the Canadian line. Finds Strong. Centres it. Looking for that dump. Back to Baudry. She considers the huck. Looks for the undercut instead. Gets Chong. Canada moving really well. Chong puts it out in front. Run on from Baudry there.
Just outside the end zone.
Dumps it instantly and Canada calls a timeout.
That's not bad. It's an aggressive timeout call from Canada. They'll be looking to set up an end zone play here and score on one pass. Australians also going to be given the opportunity to set up whatever defense they like here. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Now, yesterday we saw Canada call 2 similar timeouts like this in their game against Japan. They had relative success with it, surprisingly, considering that a lot of the time timeouts run in front of an end zone often result in a turnover.
Absolutely. A bit of real fake stats for you. Thanks to IOU editor Max Howden. He's done a lot of research on Frisbee as an experienced coach in his own right. He's started a new site, Inside Out Ultimate, to cover Asia-Oceanic Ultimate news and has found that 4 out of 5 timeouts during a point result in a turnover. Only the most elite teams can put it in here, so we're expecting the Canadians to do something great here, but of course they're coming up against the vigilant Australian defense. They're not going to let off an easy goal here. Let's see what they've got. The rules being that the offense is an opportunity to set first. Once they're all locked in place, the defense can then set wherever they like. Just can be checked in there.
Canada in a very deep stack. Relatively crowded, though, on the side with the discers. Gineste with the disc.
One player isolated in space. Australians setting up a match defense.
We've got Baudry as the dump. Interested to see what the set play is. And just comes in. Gineste dumps to Baudry. With a scramble. And she finds Morchilla. Canada take half.
That's amazing work by the Canadians to hold on there. Australia closing off that first look. They get that dump. Baudry finding that inside break. Able to put that one in.
Canada showing their experience and the fact that they are able to set multiple options and considerations right in front of the end zone.
Absolutely. It's what you've got to do coming out of a timeout like that. Bit patience, discipline, and skill to put that one in. Canada coming off the line here, and they are hyped. They're excited about that. They've taken half 8-6. That's some impressive work by them. The Australians having a quick huddle, having a quick chat. They're absolutely in this game. It's just one little bit of a drop pull, an easy break, and that's giving the Canadians a quick 2-point lead. Australians are going to come out strong after half and claw their way back into this game, and they've absolutely got the tenacity, athleticism, and throwing skill to do that. It's all if they can execute that skill in the Australian heat. I think they'll be used to the conditions here. There's a lot of watering going on around the grounds, keep things cool. Nice little bit of spray coming up into the commentary box, keeping us cool in this very hot day. As the beating sun comes down, but Australians will be used to this, and see if the Canadians can outlast the conditions.
Yes, many of them coming from North American winter. Some of their cities are snowing, so training would be tough in these conditions, and then quite the contrast to come to Western Australia.
Absolutely. It's great conditions here. It's beautiful and sunny. Let's have a look at some of the amazing plays that had dominated this first half. Amazing grabs. We'll be back in a few minutes with some second half action for you.
See you soon.
I'm already cool, feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical, you don't wanna see the truth. Ay, I'm already cool, feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical, you don't wanna see the truth. Ay, I'm already cool, feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical, you don't wanna see the truth. Ay, I'm already cool, feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical. No, not radical. I'm that dude for Raji though. Ayy, whipping crazy, bro. Tryna jump right out of school, man. Almost finished though. Only got a few to go. Please just let my brain flow. Hope that paper worth it, never know. Guess it kinda blows. Getting quarters, that's my dough. Tryna make it through the cup for bookings, late night for a show. 25 is for a favor, need to fix my studio. If you're flexing in these streets, some ladies turn to studios. I don't flex on those. Ballpark hitting crazy homes. Chillin', figure stacking, nigga. I'm just here to bomb. Ay, I'm here for some dome. Kidding, I'm here for the throne. Ay, young Farage, you know the kid is about to take you home. Ay, I'm already cool. Feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical. You don't wanna see the truth. Ay, I'm already cool. Feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical. You don't wanna see the truth. Ay, I'm already cool. Feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical. You don't wanna see the truth. Ay, I'm already cool. Feed my ego till it's full. Ay, y'all hysterical. You don't wanna see the truth.
Looks like we're here down at halftime. On the sideline here, we've got Joy Lee, an interview with some of the Australian supporters that have showed up. Looking real good, real excited for this second half of action. What have you got to say for us, Joy?
All right, hello, Mickey and G, the notorious G. You're looking very fine today. Have you got any special messages of support for the Stingrays right about now?
We are former Stingrays ourselves. We played in the 2015 campaign, and we are both so excited to be here watching the guys do what we did a few years ago, and I'm just so inspired by how the team's grown, seeing lots of new faces coming up, and they're doing really well. I'm looking forward to a comeback in the second half.
Awesome. What about you, G?
Oh, I'm just ready for a good Australia comeback right now. Flew all across the country, planned this trip as soon as the tournament was announced, and we are just ready for a big day.
I think I hear comeback city from these two ladies, and very sun safe. That's good to see. Let's see if the Stingrays can do it. Hooray, hooray, go the Stingrays.
dance on the other side as well.
That's amazing. That's some beautiful insights from the sideline from the supporters there. Some nice, level, even commentary as well. Loving as well, the Stingrays are going to come out explosively in the second half here. The Canadian team in a huddle, collecting themselves. They'll be looking to maintain this even keel, maintain this defensive pressure. Stingrays are coming out on offense, but they do have to work it upwind. This is an invaluable chance for them to work it and show that they can hold consistently. Last time they were going on offense upwind, they just had a struggle at the beginning there, but absolutely believe in their ability to get it done. Stingrays, lots of belief in their ability. They've been forming their own athlete pages on Facebook, looking to develop their skills and profile as female athletes in this world that often doesn't respect the abilities of female athletes, and particularly athletes in the sport of ultimate, which is an ever-growing and rapidly legitimizing sport. And these Stingrays are pioneering and leading the charge, and absolutely a great example of what can be done in this sport.
Canada coming out on defense in this point. We can see that we've got Karen Hatch co-captain with the disc. Be interesting to see what defensive strategy Canada try and set to increase their lead.
Canadian defense showing a number of different looks, off a stop disc, off a pull, favouring their match defense generally, backing the athleticism of their players to get those blocks. But depending on where Hatch puts this pull, if it's coming in on the cone in a bad position for the Australians, they might opt to set a quick zone or a poach here. But it's coming down, fielded well by Spragg, up to Ma. Australians looking calm, Canadians in a match. Smith with a disc here. Opts not to shoot that long disc. Looking for O'Neill on the inside there.
There's a call made.
Looks like Norden's coming through here. O'Neill feels like she was potentially pushed out of the way as she was coming to take that disc. Let's see what the game advisor can hear on the field.
Straight for the disc?
Yeah.
Like you felt I pushed you off your line?
Yeah, no, I just felt I was also running in this direction, and I got a lot of contact coming through, pushing me off my line. That's how I feel. Don't know if you saw anything.
Do you want my perspective or clarity on the rules?
Your perspective.
My perspective was there was a lot of contact there.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
uncontested?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's great spirit shown on the field there. I guess that'll be an uncontested foul. And the disc will go to O'Neill. O'Neill, very experienced under-24 player. She played the Stingrays 4 years ago and got a silver medal with the Blue Bottles 2 years ago in London. Goes around, finds Ma. She's got Reeve in the end zone, looks it off, shoots a flick over the top. She's got Perkins in the area. Perkins bidding, but unable to reel in that disc. Floating a bit too far. She's gone down on the field there.
Teammate goes over to check, and there's an injury call made.
We're running over there. Obviously, player safety, the most important thing here. They've got to look after their teammates, make sure they stay in the game. Australians, unfortunate turnover there, just out the front of the end zone, but looking for that quick goal, but Ma just potentially stretching that throw a little too much into the wind. And we're looking to see, hoping that Perkins is okay. Perkins, a returning Stingray herself. An experienced player here. Also a good coach in her own right. She coached the under-20 girls team at the Australian Terror as they went to World Junior Ultimate Championships in Poland 2016, and returning to coach that team as they go to Canada later this year. The driving force of this Australian team. Full of energy all the time. Really have another look at this bid. Coming down hard there, looking to get up, but just stopped to, hoping it's not too serious here. She's coming off under her own power, which is always a good sign, attended by the Australian physios. Shout out to them, they've been doing some amazing work here. And looks like Parsons, returning under 24 player there. Again, one of the Blue Bottles played with O'Neill 2 years ago. Checks the disc in, and we'll be back at it with Canada. Offensively going downwind here. Australians looking for an early block.
Meanwhile, Canada will be looking to extend their break and solidify their dominance in this game. Beaudry with the disc. And she sends it long. She's got Norton on the end of it.
O'Neill in the barrier.
Norton gets great hands on that. Looks off the early option. Takes her time with it. Dumps it to Lewis. Lewis struggling to get to Beaudry, but she gets there. Leading pass. Canada's stack. Relatively static. Not wanting to clog the space. We get a cut out just in front of the end zone. And they put it in the bank.
They've dinked that one in. That's great patience by the Canadians. You can hear them calling patience from the sideline, looking for that discipline. That stack staying nice and static. Opening up that space, allowing the handler trio to reset it, move it around, and then just a quick flip into the end zone there for a goal when they needed it. Canada stretches out their lead to 9-6.
In the replay, we see Hatch with that goal. One-handed grab.
In a bit of a tough spot here. Down 3 points. They'll be looking for a clean downwind hold here. Look to stop the bleeding here and get themselves back on the board.
It's certainly not an impossible position to work back from, but it can be tough, particularly mentally.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen greater comebacks throughout this tournament. Stingrays one of the strong teams here. They've fought back from deficits before, but the Canadian team are absolutely strong, absolutely in it. Yesterday, launched their own comeback against the Japanese team, so they'll be able to hold off the Australians here unless the Australians can bring everything they've got. Coming out with a strong downwind line here, a great mix of power throwers and big receivers here. So Australians looking to strike quickly downwind and get back on defense because that's where they want to be. The pull comes up from Canada as it's floating and sitting it around the brick mark here. Mueller with the disc.
Canada City up in a match defense.
Goes around. Off the hands of Parsons. Can't quite reel that one in.
Just
Australians coming into a match defense here.
Lewis with the disc. She wanted to get off that sideline. Instead, just crams it down. And another one down the sideline, just over the hands of the Canadian player.
Picked up by Ewan. She's gone inside. She's got Smith. A lot of Australian players in the stack here. Dunmore taking off, and Smith looks long. Dunmore's in an acre of space. She's got the height. Can she reel it in? Oh, Tingle comes through with a great block there.
Great block from Tingle. Canada picking up on offense. We've got Chandler walking up to the disc. Just in the replay, correction, that was Ava Mueller. Chandler wanted to get off the sideline. Goes over the hands of Lewis. And there's been a down call.
Yeah, she didn't quite have a firm control over that, so I think that's understandable that she's accepted that down call. She was looking good for that, but there's some chat from her teammates as Prentice is off to the races, and we can have a look here. She's tipped, but has she managed to? We'll have a discussion about this one. She's not contesting that down call.
Very close call.
Great spirit from her to recognize that she didn't really have control of that one, so that one's gone down. In a tight contest, it's the Australians with a chance here. Smith picking up the disc. Takes an early one to Prentice. Looks like there might have been a pick and a stack there. So that'll go back to Smith. Quick discussion about where they should be resetting to. Australians playing out of a vertical stack here. Canadians opting for a match defense. Smith goes to Ewan. Players from Queensland working together. Back to Smith. Smith looks inside. It's soaring. Mueller's got the height, but it's just out the back of the field.
The wind just pushing that one just too far from the hands of Mueller.
Yeah, Mueller had the height and was in the right position, but the disc just soaring too high for the Australians. Not really showing the patience they need to be putting these close shots in, but giving themselves another chance on defense here.
More Chile picking up. Fakes down the line. Looks to centre instead. Canada moving into the end zone. Great layout grab there. Working it up the sideline. Looks to centre instead. Oh, great grab there from Lewis. Moves around to the other side to Chandler. Chandler back to Lewis. Oh, great layout bid there from you. Can't quite get the D though. Lewis moving it up. Another up the line shot. Leading pass. Great grab from Lewis. Prentice can't get her hands on that one. Only a couple metres out front of the end zone.
Looks like there's a timeout called there. It's all right. The Australians doing great defense there to hold out in that front corner of the end zone. A couple of sniffs at a block here, but Canadians working it up that sideline, showing great patience, just to wait for those open shots and then find them when they come.
We're going to cross now to Joy Lee on the sideline for her insights. Over to you, Joy.
Thanks, Katie. I had the good fortune to chat to one of the Canadian coaches, Caitlin Lovett, and asked her how this team, Canada, were feeling at this point in the tournament. This is their 6th game, and they're 5 wins and no losses at the moment. And she spoke about their tough matchup against Japan yesterday. That game gave them a lot of confidence, of course, not just with the comeback, but to prove that they could play some really tough match D. They've got a break this afternoon, so they're going to, after this game is done, one way or the other, they're going to go home, get in some air conditioning, have a bit of a rest. I also asked her about how they're approaching this game against Australia. They've done quite a lot of online research against the Stingrays. They know that Australia have got long threat with the disc as well as solid offense, and it looks like they're pulling out some of that really tight match D at the moment. So some good insights there from Caitlin Lovett, one of the coaches of Team Canada.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Joy. Absolutely agree. They're pulling out this match defense that the Canadians playing. They're absolutely favouring that. They've put on a zone a couple of times off a stop disc just to shake up those looks, but this match defense has formed the backbone of their defense here, and it's gotten them a number of blocks thus far. It's the Australians opting for a match defense here. They've got about 5 metres of space to defend with. It's Mueller guarding this upline cut here, and the athletic stance is coming out, and the disc is in.
Lewis to the disc. She looks for the swing, finds Chandler. Willing to give up some acres just to get some great cuts off. Lewis crossfield into the hands of Chandler. And she finds Siwa for the goal.
There's a lot of traffic there, but they managed to pull that grab and then find that around break. And Canada extend their lead. That's 10-6. Canada punishing the Australians for their mistakes efficiently, ruthlessly. And the Australians calling a timeout here. They need a bit of time to recollect themselves and calm down their offense and put in these turns that they're getting out the front of the end zone. Australians jogging to the line, staying in this game. We're very close. It's amazing to see the score line is Canada's stretched out to a lead at the moment, 4 points in it. But the Australian defense is right on the heels here. This amazing layout beards and just inches away from a lot of blocks here, and one pass away from a lot of goals. So just going to need 100 minutes of tight offense play and ferocious defense to take away this game. And Canada at the moment showing that they've got that patience at offense, a little more consistent than the Australians, able to work it through a tight space. The Australians just not quite there, not quite getting the blocks that they need after those turns.
Now Canada are continuing to prove Max Howden's real fake stat wrong and showing that they have the patience to convert in front of a stop play in front of the end zone.
Doing it after a stop disc, but also doing it in flow. The Canadians with a lot of discipline, a lot of structure, and working hard out the front here. The Australians just really wanting to score and really trying to put it in, but absolutely believing in themselves to stay in this game. They're putting in another upwind offense here, trying to get themselves within 3 points and then going back for a downwinder. They've got to put themselves in a position to succeed and get back on defense. That's where they need to be.
Hopefully Australia's timeout chat gave them the energy to rejuvenate for this point and bring back a big fiery D run after putting this one in the bank.
The coach, Mish Phillips, will have some spicy words for them, I imagine. It's a perfect balance of empowerment and belief in their abilities, but also knowledge that there's a structure and they need to be playing to it. These athletes are incredible creative problem solvers. And Michelle Phillips has empowered them to make their own decisions, and they absolutely know what needs to be done. They've got incredibly experienced captains in Sprague and Prentice. They just need to get it done when the time is right. And the time is now. It's got to be now, and it's got to be good. The Australians flat out like a lizard drinking as the Canadians come down with a scorching defense and a massive pull. Ma fields the disc. Finds Lim in the center here. Goes wide to Sprague. He's got Lim up the line, looks off. Finds Wang. Oh, and that's a huge defensive bid. The Canadians, unbelievable pressure, and there's an injury call here. Looks like that ground impact was pretty intense.
Yeah, Mott seems to be in a bit of pain walking off. She's going to take a substitution.
As with any injury call, if one team takes a sub, the other team's able to as well. And the Australian team substituting Wang for Reeve there.
And we have key handler Beaudry coming on to substitute for Mott.
Disc is in play again. Australians go straight to a match defense.
Beaudry to pick up. She'll look to get it off that sideline. Centres touch. Oh, and there's been a pick called.
Looks like the pick occurred in front of the stack. Quite some time before throw was even attempted, so that'll be a stoppage under WU24 rules.
And the disc goes back to Tam. They discuss and figure out where they need to be before the disc comes back in. Karamar on the mark. Coming back in at 4. Sends it to Hatch. Back to Tam. She finds Beaudry. And another goal for Canada, increasing their lead. 11-6.
That's athletic defense. Mott coming up with that block when Canada needed it, and then the patience to take those time. The Australian defenders switching effectively on the mark there, but these break shots just coming out around Chung, and then Beaudry managing to get an early around shot around Reeve, and then that's an open goal.
She finds Galvez in the end zone.
It's great athletic play. That's great patient team play from Canada. Got to work it around that front of the end zone. The Australians throwing a lot of defense looks at them, but those throwers managing to squeeze those around breaks off and get those to uncontested grabs. And that's what's taking them out to a dominant lead here in this second half. Australians haven't scored since it was 6-7, and now it's 6-11. Canadians not turning it over after their insane athletic plays to get those blocks. Australians really needing to turn up the heat here and bring some fire late in this game. Plenty of time left. 72 minutes here. It's a 100-minute game. Australians have got to bring something special here. They can close this gap.
You know, the Stingrays have a fire in their belly. Let's just see it come out.
Absolutely, we believe in them. As O'Neill fields the disc here. Goes to Smith on the brick mark. Canada coming out of poachy look. Dunmore striking deep. O'Neill with the disc. Patient looks for the inside. And that's picked off by Norton.
Great run through D there from Norton. She's been crushing it the last couple of days. Looks like we have Beaudry going to pick up. We have Norton off deep. Decides not to take the option. Swings it to her handler. Gets off to the centre of the field. Oh, and a miscommunication. Boju can't reel that one in.
Great defense by Smith in the dump there. Ewan, quick to pick up the disc here. Takes her time with the options. Finds Smith. Smith marshalling this offense. Finds Ewan striking up the line here. Ewan with the patience here. This is where the Australians need discipline. Finds Dunmore on the around. Waiting here, waiting for a good option. Resets to Ewan. Dunmore striking up line. Ewan floating it around. Smith going for the disc there. Under a lot of pressure.
Appears though there's been a call between Boju and Smith. Game advisors coming in now.
See this replay. Oh, there's a lot of contact there. Quite hard to see, so Australians have a chat and work it out.
I think when I was going up for it, actually, not when I was on the ground. I don't think I touched you when it affected the disc. Do you want to go?
The rules sort of state that it doesn't really matter when the contact occurs, before or after.
But it's like when I fell.
Yeah, I mean, it can be accidental.
already
It can
on
be
the
accidental and the contact can still affect.
But the disc was already past us.
I thought, no, I'm talking about earlier, like going up for it.
Okay, I'm getting contested because I don't think it affected. I don't think I like the way I touched you. I don't think I think we were side by side. I don't think I like pushed you or anything. So I'm getting contested.
All right, that'll be a contested foul. The players having differing perspectives there. There was quite a close contest, and that's all right. The disc will go back to Ewan here. And should be looking to flatten out those around breaks, and Australians need to be looking for uncontested grabs here. That's another one from Ewan. Finds Parson in space. Parsons finds O'Neill wide. Club teammates of Rogue Ultimate. Find Dunmore going up the line here, and she's looked for a big shot, but not quite what she was looking for there. Perhaps the wrong edge. I think she might have been looking for an outside in to float to the break side, but it's just sailed out the back there. Australia on defense here, needing a block on this end zone line.
Canada with another chance to convert and extend their lead. Going upwind though, so I'm sure the Australian will fire up on the defense. Low grab there. Looking at center. Sends it down the sideline. Struggling to get it off that sideline. Continues to cram it down. We've got Boju with the disc. And she sends it long. Helen Thompson, co-captain on the end. Great D from Sally Yu there. But there has been a foul called.
Sally Yu spent most of that point lurking in the deep space, trusting her Australian teammates to put enough pressure on those dumps and keep it on that sideline. Beaudry forced into a long shot there, and she's come through with the pace she needed to get in there. Let's have a look and see. Just going up early and strong there. Thompson saying that she might have been affected by the play there. Looks like there's a retracted there after the discussion, and the disc will come back in Australian possession. Australians looking to go downwind. Australians unable to complete there. Canada with a short field to work.
Huge opportunity for Canada here. Punch another one on the board. Boju to pick up. And she finds Norton.
It's another inside break for the Canadians there, and they've extended their lead up to 12-6. Canadians are efficient at punishing these Australian mistakes and slotting it in on the inside. Stingrays playing good defense and getting blocks here, but just quite unable to put those ones in.
Canada are truly capitalising on their offensive play here and managing to hold on to the disc.
Australians needing a lot to go upwind here. The Canadians have gotten into their groove here and are efficiently punishing the mistakes. The Australians look a bit rattled and look like they're having difficulty slotting it in and really needing a late charge here. Of course, this gave them ultimate. You need to be scoring to win, so the Australians can get a late surge here, go on a run. They'd absolutely be in this game. There's still plenty of time as we approach the 80-minute mark here. But they're going to need to be changing something here. Getting blocks, they're getting their opportunities, but unable to complete against this ferocious Canadian match defense here.
Canada see where to pull.
It's a big roller. Nicely stopped by Prentice, fielded by Ma. Goes to Smith. Canada coming down his zone. Back to Ma. Takes her time, finds Prentice. Qua. Patience here. Over the top, finds Smith in space. Australians patient here. Smith. Prentice with a disc, calling her players close. Back to Smith. Taking her time, floats it over the top. Qua with time. Two-handed grab. Reeve in the middle. Goes around, finds Prentice. Shoots upwind, she's looking long. Oh, and that's reeled in. Rue is unable to grab it.
That's a great grab there from Mott. Great defense. Canada with another chance to extend their lead and sends it. Seaward to Mott. And double happiness for Mott. She will be ecstatic.
Absolutely, doing it on both sides of the dish. She's read that pass, gotten up early, taken a grab. It looked like Rue was within space. It's a tempting shot, but Mott was patrolling and ready for that. And then just absolutely screaming deep immediately and rewarded with a quick goal. Canada stretching out to 13.
Now these games here today have a point cap of 15, so if Canada score 15, it's game over. That being said, you have to get the winning goal, so if Australia go on a huge run, it's not too late for them.
Anything's possible here, with Mott coming out with a huge defensive play. He's a veteran of the Junior Worlds team in Poland and was tearing up the final there as the Canadian girls team was able to take it out over the US in that final. So no stranger to high-level play and intense defense. She's bringing it out again here against the Stingrays as they're looking to collect themselves and surge back into this game. The Canadians just wanting to keep an even keel here, not change anything. They're working well, efficiently striking on offense and using their athleticism to get blocks here. Prentice with some choice words for the Australian team, looking to settle them down and pull them out of this rut here. She's the Australian captain and she can fire them up and get them doing what they need to be doing. The Australians might be in with a chance here, but Canada absolutely the dominant force. Taking many points in a row here, stretching out a huge lead. Taking it out to 7 points. The Australians have quite a deficit to work. They need to break out of this rut. But if they can get something big here, they could be off like a bull in a china shop.
Now you can definitely spot a difference in body language and energy between the two teams. The Canadians having a casual circle, singing along, chanting. The Australians taking a little bit longer, walking a little bit slower. Potentially a huge deficit getting in their heads. Now we're going down to Joy Lee on the sideline. She's got a couple of words for us.
Thanks, Katie. Just a quick one. You've seen the difference in the quality between the hucking in these Canadian and Australian teams. Canada really able to sit those discs out, perfect for their receiver, and they make sure of it downwind or up. In Australia, they've been pushed a little bit, maybe a little bit too early as well. Can they change us up in the late stages of the game?
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Joy. Something's got to change here. Perkins finds the disc on the break side. Goes to Parsons. University players together. Ewan back to Parsons. Working confidently here as the Canadians have transitioned back to a one-on-one match defense. Parsons goes around, finds Sprague. Sprague looking long, and there's Smith, but there's a peek in his day. Smith doing well to collect that regardless of the pick, but that'll go back. A lot of these players here having played University Ultimate together and Club Ultimate together, particularly on this line. Sprague, Parsons, Perkins all play with Rogue Ultimate in Sydney. As Sprague shoots long, looks for Parsons, looks for Perkins, but that's taking a grab, but just bounced out of her hands on landing there.
Canada send that one early. We've got Mott on the end, and she gets that one. Great read. Great body positioning, despite the height deficit between her and Mueller. Canada's connections are just looking fantastic. Just outside the end zone. Finds a quick connection to Sophia Chan.
Canada are able to complete on that pass going upwind and then quickly dish it around and then a round break there to seal that goal. That brings it to 14-6 Canada, them looking for a game point with a downwinder to seal the game here. Australians bringing the fire and the energy here, needing to complete this upwind to stay in the game. It's do or die here. We can see Perkins with that bid, but clap catches on those layouts, that elbow coming down into the ground, just bouncing out of the hand there, and a huge huck. Mott off to the races as soon as she got it. Parsons unable to get that block there. And then the Canadians with the patience to put it in. Do or die here for the rest of the game for the Australians. Canada with a number of game points in a row. Australia only able to hold on to this game if they can score every point here. Chances are looking slim, but they won't be counting themselves out. A lot of believes in themselves. And the Canadians with a strong downwinder here. All they need is one block and a score. Close out this game, 15-6. So Canada absolutely in a dominant position, having controlled this game absolutely, especially since halftime. Australia looking for that special something here. Need an upwinder. Pull comes down and it's fielded by Mihash. Just goes wide, finds Ma. And again to Reeve. Back to Ma in the middle here. Ma, powerful fakes and patience. Find Reeve out the front. Goes wide to Mihash. Taking her time. Just off the hands of Eunice Chung, number 71.
Could this be Canada's time? Guess we'll see. Baudry goes to pick up the disc. Centers it to Chan Lim. Considers her options. Puts it back to Baudry on the sideline. Lots of different cuts coming up from Canada. Over the head of Thompson. Picked up there by Ning. Canada, patient options. Great take there by Norden. Knocking on the doorstep of the end zone here. Over the top. There's a misconnection there. Australia with another chance to convert.
It's just floated out of reach, and Australians with a chance here, but they're coming in a very difficult position. Smith coming in with a disc, but she's on the cone, and the Canadians are stacking all the defenders around the disc here, putting a lot of pressure on. Smith finds Valancourt to break out. Back to Ma in the center here. This is a strong position here. Smith moving the disc. Finds Prentice. She's in the center here. She's got Reeve free deep, taking safe options here, but squeezes it between Ma and Smith, and that's another turnover for the Australian offense.
Australia with another chance to convert. Lost another chance to convert. Baudry with the disc. Moving up the sideline to Thompson, and she sends a huge one down to Norden. She's got the time, and she reads it. Canada to win.
Norden went up strong, went up early. Prentice absolutely in the area, had the defensive pressure, was around there, but just not able to make that play. Norden holding her ground, holding that space. Not able to find the block when the Australian team needed it. And that's a 15-6 win for the Canadian women's team here.
Definitely not the result I would have called, but Canadians would be ecstatic with themselves.
The Canadians only ramping up as they came out of halftime. The Australians absolutely in it. And then 8-6, the score at halftime. And the Canadians just lifting their defensive pressure, making things happen over and over again. And their offensive patience remained the same. They remained cool and calm, and just the blocks just kept coming, and the Australians looked rattled. Didn't look like they were able to get into their comfort zone, and the Canadians able to efficiently punish the Australian mistakes well throughout the second half of that game, and that's a dominant performance by the Canadians there, continuing undefeated through this tournament. The Australians looking potentially to hold on to that semi-final spot, but if they're coming in that 4th seed into the semi-finals. They'll be matching up with either the Canadians again or the United States in that semi-final. So either way, a tough matchup. But depending on how the rest of the draw shakes out, potentially not still out of contention here.
We're just going to jump to a quick highlight reel of this game, summarise some of the great moments of it.
And this is absolutely an amazing game from both teams here. The Canadians showing athleticism well throughout the start of the game, and the Australians with them and putting a lot of pressure on, but just unable to hold on to their offensive completions late in the game and just not having the consistency that the Canadians had, particularly late into the game. The Australians looking rattled and pressured by the amazing Canadian defense there. The Australians coming out with a lot of great bids and great plays to hold on, but not able to sustain that for the full 100 minutes as the Canadians ramped up their defensive pressure. They knew they wanted to come in with some tight match defense, and they absolutely did it. The Australians needed everything they've got to hold on at the start there as the Canadians just stretched their offensive completions out of reach of the Australians. Truly an amazing showcase game by both teams, but the Canadians definitely the dominant force, not letting the Australians back in there. The Australians unable to mount a run late in the game. And the Canadians just holding them out there, looking a lot tighter than they did in the game against the Japanese yesterday. And they'll continue undefeated throughout the tournament as the Australians battling to hold on to that semi-final spot. It's been a pleasure bringing this game to you with our sideline commentator, Joy Lee. I've been Rob Swan with my co-commentator, Katie Locke. Looking for more exciting Ultimate coming the rest of this week.
Thanks very much for listening. Just for those Canadians in the stream, a quick score update for you on the mixed game against Malaysia. The Canadians are currently up 11-8. 12-8, they just scored. There you go. There's going to be lots more exciting Ultimate coming later today. Next game up that we have is not handy with me. There's plenty of action. Stay tuned. See you later.